A real quick survey. How many of y'all set New Year's resolutions? Can I see by show of hands? How many of you are still keeping them here 3 weeks into the new year? Isn't that interesting? My name's Anthony Galie, and I am a psychologist by profession. And for the last 27 years, I've been conducting a program around the country that I title The Subconscious Aspects of Business. Essentially, it's a goal-setting program, but in terms of sharing the vision, it's also presupposing that you have a vision. So I'm going to talk about two different things here this afternoon. Number one, how to get a vision for yourself and for your business. And then, of course, more importantly, how to share that vision so that the entire organization starts to rise. I don't think people suffer from lack of motivation. They suffer from lack of being able to stay motivated. And New Year's resolutions are certainly the best example. I think conferences like this are another. Quite often you go to a conference or a meeting and you see people very centered, very focused, very enthused. They get all pumped up and excited, and how long does that last? Well, a lot of you will be losing any motivation you got from this meeting probably on the way back to the airport. It's sad, but it's true. People have trouble staying motivated. That's true for most people. It's certainly not true for everyone. Every once in a while, you find a person in business that has a very clear-cut vision of what they want to accomplish, and not only that, but they appear to an outsider to be constantly motivated. These are the people that are very highly driven, know exactly where they're going and how they're going to get there. They're very organized. You don't really have to tell them what to do because in most cases they are already doing it. These folks are few and far between, but they actually do exist. And in the position that I'm in, I get an opportunity to meet quite a few of them. The people that are very focused in business are doing something every single day. They're on a motivational program. And the good news is they're not all on the same program. I do not think there is a universal secret to doing this. I have interviewed hundreds of them, and I've gotten literally hundreds of different answers when you ask them that question. But the answers do tend to fall into categories. And of course, by far the most common answer I've gotten is I write my goals down at least 2 or 3 times a week. If I can't see it, if it's not in writing, I get fuzzy very quickly. I lose my edge, lose my drive, unless I'm writing my goals down over and over and over again. Now, over and over, I hear this story. I keep a yellow notepad in the corner of my desk. 2 or 3 times a week, I'll sit down and just rewrite what I know I need to do to get to where I want to be in this business. I've got production goals, daily goals, quarterly goals, monthly goals, and if I don't keep writing them down, I lose my edge. I have to tell you, honestly, that is by far the most common thing I've heard successful people tell me they do to stay motivated. And of course, again, I cannot be the first person that has shared that with you. Any of you who have been in this business for any more than a couple of weeks, somewhere down the line has heard about the value of writing your goals down repetitiously. True? Untrue? Is this new information to all of you? Right? But here's the operational question, of course. Honestly, how many of you do it? How many of you can honestly say you spend 5 minutes or so, 3 or 4 times a week, and write your goals down on a piece of paper? Can I see by show of hands? None of you. And it doesn't surprise me. Most people don't do it, and I'll tell you why they don't do it. You go to a person, you say, why aren't you doing it? Look, that phenomenally successful person is telling you they write their goals down 3 times a week. Why don't you do it? The most common answer is, I'm too busy. Too busy being an average producer to do what these high producers are doing. I just don't have the time. They're getting their goals down either by writing them down, or a twist to it is that they have their goals recorded somewhere. Let me give you, to start off this afternoon, a very simple, very practical idea to help yourself develop a very powerful vision. Question: how many of you folks have your goals for the year 2007 either on tape or on a CD anywhere? Can I see by show of hands? I see one hand, and they tell me there's about 120 people in this room. 1%, less than 1%. Different question. How many of you folks have CD players or tape players in your car, your SUV, your vehicles? Can I see by show of hands? Now look at that. I sat at the table with some of the account managers and I said, how many hours a week do you spend driving around? And they said, it goes on and on and on. How many hours a week do you spend behind the wheel of that vehicle? How difficult would it be for you to leave this conference, take the most salient information you got, make bullet points? You know, this speaker had a good point, that conference, that breakout session was a really good point, I want to make sure I do this, I want to get this done by a certain date. How difficult would it be to make yourself a little list of bullet points of stuff you learned from this conference? Go get a handheld tape recorder or plug a microphone into your computer. It will almost automatically boot up Windows Media Center, and sit there and make yourself a little CD. Take that and burn it to a CD. Read your goals, your bullet points. Take your goals for the year 2007 and read them, and make yourself a little CD, your own voice, repeating what your goals are over and over again for maybe 5 continuous minutes. If you do that, start to finish, it should only take you about 15 minutes. But at the end of the 15 minutes, you'll have your goals in a very tangible form. You'll have them either on tape or CD. You can put them in your hand. I recommend you take that CD and put it in your glove compartment. Programming your subconscious mind is so simple if it's done correctly. And yet most people try to do it in exactly the wrong way. They try to force information into their subconscious mind. And you can't make your unconscious mind do anything. Try not to think of elephants for the next 5 seconds. See what happens. You can't stop that no matter how hard you try. You ever lie in bed at night and try to get to sleep? The harder you try, the less likely it becomes. When do you fall asleep? The minute you stop trying. Isn't that true? You cannot force the information in there, but passive repetition, droning in the background, not really even paying attention to it, just the repetition, it starts to sink in and create that unconscious focus and vision. You do have a vision, by the way. It's an extremely powerful one, and most of you don't even know it's there. We psychologists have a term, and I'm sure you've heard it as a layperson, your subconscious self-image. A lot of people use that term. He or she, they're always going to do well because they've got such a powerful, such a great self-image. Or he or she, they're always going to get themselves in trouble because they've got a bad or a negative self-image. Don't people talk about that a lot? Well, you have a self-image too, and it's affecting your performance in a variety of ways. Do any of you know what your subconscious self-image is right now? If I ask you to look inside yourself and find it, would you know how to do that? That's just one of those things they don't teach you in high school in this country. Let me show you how to do it. It's very easy. It takes about 5 seconds. If you want to know what your image is, take a moment and try to remember the last time you took a bath or a shower. Anybody can't remember that? Odd thing to ask a group of professionals like yourself, but bear with me. Try to recall. Last time you were taking a bath or shower, probably this morning, correct? When you remember that image, when you actually remember taking that bath or shower, didn't most of you just do this? Didn't you unconsciously pull out a picture of yourself? Isn't it like you have removed your conscious mind, and there you are, standing in that shower or sitting in that bathtub? It's like you're outside of yourself, looking at yourself. I'd like to point a couple things out. First of all, that's not how it happened. When you were taking the shower or the bath, you were seeing things through your eyes. If you were remembering it the way it really happened, all you should be seeing right now are tiles on the wall or fixtures on the bathtub. That's the way it was actually recorded. Yet, it's not the way we remember it. We have included a little mental representation of ourselves. Take a good look at that picture. That is your subconscious self-image. That is what you think you look like in relation to the rest of the world around you. And that little picture has a variety of powerful implications. For example, if you just pulled out a picture of an overweight person, chances are you will have a weight problem until you change that picture, and I don't care what diet you get on. Focused on 40. What would happen to that hypothetical salesperson if they were to change that focus from 40 to 80? You think they'd sell more? You think they'd be more motivated? You think they'd prospect more? You think they'd be out there generating more activity? Change that mental picture, and you can change a person's behavior.